I don't even think it's close. I think it's Russell Wilson to the Broncos. I think he's arguably the best top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Best deep ball. The Broncos, they've had top 5 defense the last few years. Now they have their QB. They have Russell Wilson. They have the weapons. It's Russell Wilson.
Listen, and you know what? I'm sorry, guys. I'm not giving you content on this question. I'm agreeing with this guy because he's dead right. And you know what? You know what Russell Wilson is going to do? He's going to open up the run game for our boy, Javonte Williams. Out of UNC, he's going to be a star. Listen, I called it last year. I said, who's the running back to watch last year? I said, watch Jonathan Taylor. He's going to tear it up. Now, did I say he was going to lead the league in everything and be the number 1 guy? No. But I told you, he is going to open it up and crush. And you know what? This year it's going to be Javonte. And it's going to be because of this man's pick, Russell Wilson. He's going to open up everything for that offense. They're going to do really well, even though they're in the toughest division in football. Backer, go ahead.
It's very interesting. I'm not that strong on Denver, and I wasn't strong on them before this pickup. And I'm going to come out and say, I want to talk about Tyreek Hill. I think he's a guy that is going to make a huge impact. And I'm not even high on Tua. I like Tyreek Hill. I want to see him in a different system with a different quarterback. You know, everyone talks about Mahomes has Hill and Kelsey. You know, I like seeing top receivers go to different organizations. And it's very interesting. Miami's one of those teams this year that is all over the place. I think Miami's a team that can win 8 games. They can win 10. They can win 6. We don't know. So I want to see the impact that a guy like Tyreek Hill has.
Let me tell you something. They better win week 1 because I got like over $500 on a -3, okay? So they better win week 1.
Okay. And actually to Jared's answer, what it's going to open up for Jalen Waddle. The deep ball going with the Hill down the field, Waddle's going to be wide open.
That's a great
year. Yeah. Just like he's going to feed off, Javonte, your boy's going to feed off Russell Wilson. I went a little bit different. I went defensively. I think Khalil Mack for the Chargers is going to make a big difference for them defensively. I know we like to talk offense all the time, but to me, I'm a big Charger guy, so I think defense is really going to make that team.
And quickly, just a little bit off topic.
That division is so tough.
It's true. It's true. And the hobby is going to start recognizing defensive players more and more. It already started with Chase Young back in 2020. Then it continued in 2021 with our boy, right? Micah Parsons from Dallas. And it's going to keep making a trend because defense is important. Hutchinson is a star. Okay, he is the next J.J. Watt. Period. TJ. Watch the kid play.
TJ.
Either one.
When J.J. started, either one.
No, TJ
right?
is better.
He's number 2 pick in the draft out of Michigan. He's a stud, and Detroit is going to be a stud team to look out for in 2022 sports because you got Jamison Williams right underneath him, who was the stud wide receiver out of Bama.
The defense is going to make that offense so much better with James.
True.
The Packers rookie receiver Dobbs, I think he's going to open up that offense. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to lean on him quite a bit. I've heard a lot of good things out of him.
I've been watching Hard Knocks. I'm going to say Aiden Hutchinson. He just looks like an animal. The coaches, they just keep raving about it.
And he can sing.
It's good Hutchinson, yeah.
Did you see that?
Listen. I have a hard time with this question. I have a really hard time with this question because, a lot of people are skeptical of the 2022 football class, and you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. There are so many stars that are coming out of this class. You have so many elite receivers that are Justin Jefferson-like. They just keep getting better every year. You got Drake London. You got Chris Olave. You got Garrett Wilson for the Jets. I'm loving Garrett Wilson. So is everybody else around the league. Watch Drake London play football, and
Jameson Williams.
You're looking at like a Randy Moss type player with better speed. He's big. He runs like gazelle. He's amazing. Great hands. The draft's actually incredible.
It's receivers.
It's incredible.
And what about the quarterback? What about your boy?
Someone say Malik!
Say Malik!
Come on.
Say Malik. His last game.
That's where I was going.
The kid, in his last game, the kid only had 150 passing yards and 80 yards rushing. Yeah, that sucks.
He's got talent.
He's got extreme talent. That kid could be starting by week 10.
So you really have, a year ago, you really had 5. You had 5 guys, and then Davis Mills kind of made his way in there as a 6. It's actually very interesting. And you know what I want to do? I want to re-answer that question. I want to break down all the quarterbacks, right? I'm going to say this off the top. We, Jags and I'll speak for both of us. Mm-hmm. Mac Jones is not high on our radar. I don't think, we were never high on him as much.
Talent-wise, no.
You know,
system-wise,
both of
winning
you.
quarterback he can be, but talent-wise, I was
we don't think he. But here's what I will say: I think there's 2, maybe 3 quarterbacks in this class that have a real chance of making this league, and I think it's going to be Lawrence. It's going to be Trey Lance to me. And honestly speaking, I think it's. I'm not ruling Davis Mills out. I'm not. You know, we talk about it on the channel all the time. I think he's a guy that, with the right people around him, he's got some decent talent around him. He might. It's crazy to say this. I would bet on Davis Mills' career over Mac Jones.
Wow.
I would. And a lot of it has to do with the team, the situation. It's tough to keep a job in New England.
That's funny. They said a QB played there for 20 years.
Yeah, the greatest QB.
It's funny. I agree with what he's saying. I don't agree with the reasoning behind
But
it. Why?
my whole point is, if I had to choose one, if I had to invest in one of these players or just pick one from a football, I still think Lawrence. You got to remember, this guy was like one of the highest prospects out of Clemson. I remember we saw him live against Ohio State, one of his last games, and this guy. There's a reason he was the number 1 overall, and I think you can't rule that out yet. I think you have to give him time. Remember, a guy like Zach Wilson, right? Most everyone in cards in football realized this was a guy. He had such an uphill battle, right? Because he had such a bad team around him. And a lot of football is system. And I know the Jags aren't a great team.
He had way worse. It was his coach.
I know that.
It was his
But
coach.
I'm still going to say Lawrence. To me, you give a quarterback 2 full years to shine. You don't rule them out after year 1. I think Lawrence is a guy that has top 5 upside. Here's the thing. I think Lance is going to be good. I don't think he's going to be as good as the hobby thinks he's going to be. The hobby has the cards. The value of him right now is so high. If I'm buying cards, I think Lawrence is a buy. Honestly, I think Fields is kind of a buy. I think Fields is, and I'm interested to see what everyone else has to say about that.
Well, the
I'm
potential
gonna
of
tell you
all
right
6
now,
of these guys is tremendous.
The best buy right now, Davis Mills. And you know why? Because he's the cheapest of all of them. He didn't come up in the hype. There was nothing there. He was kind of the free roll for Houston. He's the guy. I mean, that's just my opinion.
There's one point on Davis Mills that needs to be touched on, which is I always have preached for years, and it's helped with the predictions to help you guys buy your cards and hit big with them because these players have performed. Is the situation that you're drafted into. And that's the one point with Davis Mills that I disagree with him. Like, it's a little bit flipped for me. That's what's so impressive about Davis Mills. He's in a bad situation with a bad team, with bad ownership, and he's succeeding. That's something you don't see out of a young quarterback ever. And that's why I say special when it comes to Davis Mills. Name his top receiver. Name his top running back. What has he got? And he's got a franchise that is completely a mess with everything going on with Deshaun Watson, with the whole masseuse problem. They're a mess. And he is out there in all of this putting up numbers. I got Davis Mills up there, and I got him probably as my top. Yeah.
So we've been breaking now for 6 years, and there's a theory. If it sits, it hits. Every year, there's always players that just get overlooked. And this year, it's Justin Fields. For some reason, the Bears are just sitting in all these breaks. I'm just going to go with Fields. I honestly,
you know what?
I honestly don't really like any of these
like
QBs. They're all really pretty bad last year, but it's the group break theory. If they sit, they hit. People are overlooking Justin Fields. I'm going to go Justin Fields.
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to touch on each one of them. I mean, Davis Mills, you got 6 quarterbacks who could be long-term good, but you got Davis Mills, who I think he's just a stat stuffer. I don't think he's that good, personally. I think he's like that guy on the NBA team who puts up a bunch of shots, he gets a bunch of points. He's just filling the stats. So talent-wise, I don't think he's that good. I don't think Houston will ever win. And I just don't think he'll ever be this star quarterback in a sense. He's put up numbers. Lance, I think, is on a court, like you say, his prices are too high. I disagree. Niners can win the Super Bowl this year. Look what happened to Mac Jones last year when they made the playoffs. His prices skyrocketed. They're still high. So if Mac Jones wins this year, it doesn't matter what talent he has. Because at the end of the day, his cards are still going to be, if we're talking card game, his cards are still going to be high if the Patriots are winning this year. It doesn't matter how talented he is, he's leading a team. So if the Niners win this year and Lance has talent, it's going to be to the moon with them. Fields and Wilson, I think, are organizational problems. They're talented, but the organizations suck. And they have a long-standing record of, and my guy is actually T-Law. T-Law is my guy. And I'm a Niner fan, but I would take T-Law over Lance because I think long-term, There's been last 5 years, there's been a breakout quarterback second year every single year, right?
That's the year.
This
Make or
year.
break
So
year.
it's been like Josh Allen, it's been like Kyler,
Lamar.
it's been Lamar. Yeah, so it's been all these second year quarterbacks. So I think T-Law is what makes the jump from obscurity to all of a sudden he's gonna be. And I'm not saying the Jags are gonna win a bunch of games this year, but they could be 8 and 10,
Their division's
and he can
wide
put up a shitload of.
Well,
Let me tell you something.
I have a question
Hold
for
on.
David.
Hold on. I got two guys that I want to touch on real quick.
Can I-
And
can
you know
I
what?
name one of them?
Maybe you know what? Davis Mills. He may be number one, but you know what I'm looking at? I'm looking at Zach Wilson and Trey Lance, and I'm looking at Zach Wilson because they have organizational problems, and Roland needs he needs to improve at the head coaching position in terms of getting his people in the right places. But they are stacked with talent offensively now.
Right, yeah.
They have 2 running backs in Michael Carter and Brees Hall, rookie, going to be a beast. He's predicted, literally, the prop bet is like over 800 yards rushing. That's insane. When you have a guy like Michael Carter already sitting there, you have Garrett Wilson, you have all the other, they have a whole bunch of wide receivers over there in New York.
Yeah.
So I think Zach Wilson has a chance to really improve. But to me, I've been saying this on the Blez One YouTube channel a lot. And this makes me feel like Bowman baseball. Okay? Trey Lance is the greatest prospect in quarterback history.
Yeah, good comparison.
It is like a Bowman kid. You know why? Because you're taking a second-year quarterback who had his problems in year 1. He's adjusting to the pro game. As you saw, he's throwing 150-mile-an-hour 5-yard out. Like but he's gaining control now over the offseason. He's learning, and he's in the greatest. How good was that team? They almost went to the Super Bowl last year with Jimmy freaking G. They've only improved on all fronts, offensively and defensively. And he's stepping into this position as a second-year kid, which makes him the greatest prospect we've ever seen. Because Jax is right. He can take him to a Super Bowl in his second season.
There's actually one more quarterback in this class. Our boy Sammy.
You fun. I almost missed him. Thank you, Backer.
Yeah.
Thank you, Backer.
Yeah.
The Indianapolis Colts,
Someone by the
out of the
Colts.
University of
They have
Texas.
Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's a stud.
No, but you got to hear this.
They
You have
do.
to hear this.
No.
That's why
They do. They do. No, well, I mean, listen, there's not much to hear. Did you watch him over the preseason? And he was
I don't
playing.
watch Colts preseason.
I do. I watch all. Well, I watch all the preseason.
We watch Hard Knocks Live.
I want to hear what
preseason.
David
I watched.
said.
Listen, I watched.
This
the
is
whole
the greatest.
preseason.
You guys have to. This is the greatest
This is
thing
the
about the
thing that
hobby.
could come out and be.
This is
amazing
one of
right
those.
here.
This is. I mean, Sam Ehlinger could be the greatest buy of all the quarterbacks right now.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
Swidren's buying him.
You know?
Swidren's buying it all.
But-
People should be
Great
buying
with
him
Jacob
because
Eason.
listen, this is okay. This is like okay. I explained this to Backer because weirdly enough, I didn't know anything about like good investments until I talked to him, and he taught me right away. When you buy a stock, do you want to buy like Apple at 150 because it's a great company, or do you want to buy a company you believe in because it costs a penny? Because what does it take to double your money?
Yeah.
2 pennies.
All right, well,
Guess what? Sam Ehlinger is at the bare bottom. And Matt Ryan, honestly, he's on his way out. Sam Ehlinger has all the skill to be really good. He can bring him up.
You want, can
Go ahead.
I gotta answer what you just said. And this is what the hobby doesn't get, right? Trey Lance comes out and throws a touchdown. Great. Cards stay the same. Sam Ehlinger goes out and throws a 50-yard pass. His card's now triple.
No.
At least
10x.
50 times.
50, yeah.
And
That's
that's
the whole
but that's
point.
what the hobby needs to understand. Is all
Exactly.
Sam Ehlinger's do.
Mitchell Trubisky.
Really?
Yeah,
It's just how they end the starter.
Yeah,
Actually,
I think he's going to be really
I
good. He
love
was in a shitty organization with the Bears. Like he's a guy, like
That was
you
my
say, you
first
buy
thought.
him for nothing, and his cards can skyrocket out. If he goes out with the Steelers, they got Najee, they got a great team. You know, I mean, some offensive line's not really that good, but he wasn't used to good offensive line anyway. So he can scramble, he can throw. If they give him the reins and they're not worried about Pickett coming in and taking a spot right away, they have a great year. I think he has the talent. The Bears organization just
People are going to think it's like a biased take, but I'm going to go Daniel Jones. This is his make or break year.
it is biased, but I like it.
No, he's
I like
been
it.
hurt a lot, and now he has an offensive coach as the head coach. He has a lot of weapons. We need Saquon to stay
I was
healthy.
gonna say healthy Saquon.
That's what Saquon, a healthy
He's looked good
KG.
this offseason.
You know, Tony was hurt the whole season.
Yeah, they
last
have
year.
healthy receivers.
The
Take
Giants are one of those teams. They might win 2 games. They could win 7 or 8. They can play well.
We already talked about it, unfortunately. Javante's my bust out. I've been saying it for a million years.
So he's an MVP candidate like Taylor, like that
I
good.
think
MVP
he can be.
Yeah, all right.
Listen, Blez family members, come at me. I'll take anybody's bet. He's going over 1,000 rushing yards this year.
I'm going to go with someone that already had a great year that I think could actually be the #1 receiver in football this year. That's a guy by the name of Gabriel Davis out of UCF. Okay,
That's a hot take.
that
I like that.
that's interesting because I am so high on Josh Allen that he is a guy. Gabriel Davis came in the league. It's his third year. He came in 2020 at UCF. He's a guy that's already shown that he's super talented. But if you look at towards the end of the year at his numbers, I mean, this is a guy that was putting up better numbers. And then once we got into the playoffs, I'll still say it. They got cheated against the Chiefs. They lost the coin toss.
How many touchdowns did he have against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship?
Three or
Three.
four.
Three.
That's what I'm saying.
Three.
So I think he's a guy that's great, that has a chance. And everyone knows that A.J. Brown is like my guy as a receiver. I think Gabriel Davis can be the number one overall receiver because I think Josh Allen's just that damn good. And there's a huge thing in cards and sports. When there's an off season, right? The hottest guys going to the next season are the guys that either get into a great system or the guys that perform the best towards the end of the year. And that's what people have to realize is that the Chiefs beat Buffalo 41-35. We were watching that game together live. I think we were watching, all three of us were watching that game. And I'm going to tell you right now that if the Bills were to win that coin toss, they'd be sitting here winning the Super Bowl. And there's a lot of luck. And that's why you never know. Gabriel Davis is my guy, UCF. I think third year, he's just going to have a great year. As you like to say, what is it, the Wyoming Wonder? Is that what it is? The Wyoming Wonder. Josh Allen was a guy that came in 2018. He had Lamar Jackson. You had Baker Mayfield. You had Sam Darnold. You had, remember Josh Rosen, who didn't last?
Oh, God.
It was all those guys.
Josh Rosen's still in the damn league. I don't know how.
Is he really?
Yes.
Who's he with?
He's just popping around. He was playing this preseason.
Like the Browns or
Josh
Browns or
Allen.
something?
I'm not saying anything that no one else knows. And I'll tell you right now, I don't own one Josh Allen card, and I don't own any Josh Allen product, any of that. I just, from a football standpoint, the fact that he's so mobile, and I just saw something in him with his arm that I just saw something. That's why, like, you want to talk about I want to just answer that again with another question. Who am I the most low on? It's always been Lamar Jackson. Because in this league, if you want to be elite as a quarterback, in my opinion, the future of this league, you got to be a two-way quarterback. You got to be able to run. You got to be able to throw. A guy like Lamar Jackson can run. He can't throw. Josh Allen can do both at an elite level.
I think Lamar has more throwing touchdowns than Josh Allen so far. They came in the same year.
But you have to realize that football to me is not a lot about stats. It's about it's naked eye.
Lamar was an MVP.
Great.
I think he was top 3.
I'll bet on Josh Allen. I'll bet on Josh Allen.
I'll take Jalen Hurts over Lamar Jackson.
Can I touch on that?
Yeah.
That's another guy, actually. I'm not going to say he's going to be MVP. I'm not going to say he's going to be most improved. When you look at 2020 football, you got the big two in Herbert and Burrow. I think I think he's a winner. I really do. I think he's a winner. I think the beauty of football is, right, you got 32 teams. Mathematically, half these quarterbacks aren't going to be that great, right? You're going to get 5 to 6 quarterbacks that are going to be truly elite with 1 or 2 at the top. And the reality is, from an MVP standpoint, I think Josh Allen, he's a 5-1 favorite to win MVP. He's the hands-on favorite right now, a little over Mahomes. And I just think he's just so good. And he has some good.
Give their management some credit because picking up A.J. Brown, will make Jalen Hurts better. A lot better.
Yeah, that's going to help. In the running.
A lot, because then you got Devontae Smith on one side, and you got Jalen Brown.
So Dak, who do you think? Who's your pick for MVP?
My pick. Well, listen, we all know the MVP almost every time goes to a quarterback, right? If you go away from quarterback, you're at a disadvantage. My pick it's going to be my boy, weirdly enough, because I think I'm on that side of the Chiefs get better this year. I think it's going to be Mahomes because I believe that offense is improved by getting rid of Tyreek Hill.
Really?
Patty Mahomes is going to become a more diverse quarterback instead of having to focus on 2 guys, Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. Now we can focus on Juju Smith-Schuster. He can focus on Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He can focus on Sky Moore. Sky Moore. We're loving him for the 2022 rookie class. Loving him. Okay? And they have more backs now. Everything is going to be better there in Kansas City. If I could go away from a quarterback, it's going to be my guy, Justin Jefferson. I think this year is where he takes
MVP. Oh, you have Mahomes. MVP.
I have Mahomes as MVP, but if I could go away from a quarterback, but I know it doesn't work that way. It's always a quarterback. It really is. It's Justin Jefferson this year will take the step and become the best wide receiver in football. I believe it, to the nth degree. I believe he's the most talented receiver in the league, and it's not even close. It's really not close.
I agree with
I
that.
like that. Yeah.
My MVP pick, finally the pressure's off this guy. I think he was the most underrated quarterback in the last 12 years since he got drafted in 09. I have Matthew Stafford. He threw 43 touchdowns last year. It's his second year in McVay's system. He is the best receiver in football. Now they know he can win the big game. So it's like there's like an unbiased, he's a big game player now. The numbers are going to be there. Like Allen is the story. Allen's probably going to get, if it's close, it's going to go to Allen.
It's the Steve Young
I'll
effect.
take
It's
Stafford.
the monkey's off his back.
Yeah.
He's not a loser anymore. Now he's a winner. Now he's a winner.
He can easily
Mentally,
throw
mentally,
50 touchdowns this year.
No, there's a big thing from going with Detroit and always losing to going and
That's
winning
what
a
I'm
Super
saying.
Bowl in year one when you get away from that bad team. It does something to your brain.
I bet against him last year because of his
I get it.
history.
Yeah.
I honestly made a terrible take last year. I said, golf and Stafford are no different. How terrible could that have been the worst take? Worst take of the year, probably. I think they're no different. Now at the end of the year, it's way different.
What's your take now?
My take is Herbert. Herbert's MVP. I don't know why no one.
Look,
he's got to be the MVP.
but that's a big point.
Naked eye.
Hold on,
By the way.
But that's a big point. All four of us, we do get things wrong. We do. But guess what? This is why you love Blez and you love watching us. You love breaking with us. You love collecting the guys we say. You know why? Because we're going to get more right than we're going to get wrong. And you know what? We have a history. We have a track record. Go back and watch our shows from 2016 all the way to now. We get them way more right than we do wrong. If you want to nitpick, 7 out of 10 players we pick, you're going to make money. If you buy these teams, hit these cards, and you sell them at the right time, you're going to make money. 7 out of 10.
I mean, I know you always liked Herbert, but what is it? What is it?
The eye. You just said the eye test early on. Like we saw the game last year. It was ridiculous. It was just he's just a ridiculous quarterback. He's big. He can run a little bit. He's got a cannon for an arm.
He's what they say, right? If you're going to build a quarterback from scratch, each thing, he's who you build.
He's who you build.
You know,
and the defense, like what brought me back to the Khalil Mack thing. They got some piece on defense that's got to help them on offense. Eckler healthy. I mean, to me, he's twice the quarterback Joe Burrow is, if you want to go there. Well, especially long term. Joe Burrow, I don't think is going to be a long term quarterback.
It's actually very
He's
interesting.
not going to have it after about 5-6 years.
Herbert's a guy that
Exactly.
I don't. To me, Herbert's just not a winner. I don't know. I just when I watched a lot of those games last year, he'd get into the red zone, he would throw picks. He's one of those guys. See, I think what Herbert is what you said about
Davis.
Davis Mills.
Yeah, I think that's what Herbert
Davis
is.
Mills has the it factor or something?
No, I think Herbert is more of a James Harden type that's going to put up. I mean, Herbert's a phenomenal talent. I just don't think the level that the hobby has for him.
Won more games for the Chargers in the last couple of years than like anyone has ever.
Yeah, but
even Phillip Rivers couldn't get him anywhere. Sometimes that's an organizational thing. Phillip Rivers was much more of a stat stuffer than Herbert is. Herbert has the skill level.
He does. I just don't think
the coaching staff held him back a little bit last year, but I actually don't disagree with their style. If they had a better defense, that style would play out better.
Come on, we don't like Brandon Staley.
We just Staley was horrible. Neither way, So Staley was so bad last year, but if they had a better defense, I think some of those calls that didn't work out wouldn't have hurt them because the other team went down and scored right away, and it backfired twofold. So it's like if they had a defense who could stop them sometimes, a couple of those plays wouldn't have mattered. They could go for it on 4th and 2 with their own 40 or whatever.
Right.
Rematch of the 1990 Super Bowl. Giants against Bills. Giants win 23-20.
Somebody cut that part out. You said Giants. You said Giants, right?
Giants Bills, he says.
The Bengals came out. The Bengals were 20-1 to win the division last year. Why couldn't the Giants? They were 20-1 to win their division.
And that division's not that good. Yeah.
Giants, the NFC East is always the most wide open division in football.
I'm not a Cowboy believer.
Every year.
So,
All right.
Go to back first. I got to come up with an NFC. I know who I like in AFC. I'm not there on NFC yet. NFC's tough. That's a tough conference.
The MVP guy never makes the Super Bowl. That's why I didn't say the Rams.
It's actually very interesting, but I'm going to come out and say, I have to continue what I've been saying here for the last 30 minutes. I mean, I do think Buffalo's going to come out of the AFC. I do. I really hate to say this because I believe in it, but I do believe that there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the NFL. Like, I always think about that Saints game. I'll never forget that game. The Saints got completely, they got screwed in that game. And I believe that this story would, from a marketing level, would be so big for the NFL. But what if I told you Buffalo was going to play Tampa? I mean, they can market it as old school, new school. From a marketing standpoint, I mean, they got Tampa. Right now they're over on their win total. I think it's 10, 11 games. I mean, you look at Buffalo and you look at Tampa. I think Buffalo's going to do it, and I'm hoping. I don't know if it's going to be Tampa Bay, but I'm hoping it could be Buffalo and Tampa Bay. And I think the NFL, if it's close, the refs might throw a flag when they don't need to throw a flag.
Passing the torch.
I mean, you want to talk about a high ratings game. I mean, I think forget your sports cards. I think the league is so excited to see what Josh Allen, like, you could talk about Herbert, you could talk about Stafford, but I got to tell you right now, I don't think anyone really cares about a guy like Stafford. Herbert, yeah, they care about.
Last year was the Bengals and the Rams. Nobody cared about.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So from an NFL, so Stafford's not a guy that, he's talented. Stafford's a guy, let's be honest, no one cares about Stafford. If you're in the hobby or you're out of the hobby, they don't care about Stafford. Right now, the hottest quarterbacks are Josh Allen, Herbert, Burrow, and probably Mahomes. Those are the four guys. And then you can throw Brady in there. But like even a guy like Rodgers, right? Super talented, but like the hobby just doesn't really care because they always know what they're getting at, right? So people are excited.
He's only one
to see.
Super Bowl. His potential's done. He's old.
Exactly.
So
he beat
if he wins
Pittsburgh.
this year,
Yeah. So I
he
think
has to win a couple more.
I'm gonna say the fun story is Buffalo and Tampa, and I think Buffalo is going to. I think it's Josh Allen's his fourth year, and
He did lose his offensive coordinator.
we'll see. I mean, like I said, I don't. This question is more of just me answering it. I'm not the type of guy that's going to be all in on Buffalo, but if I had to pick, I would say Buffalo. Jags. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Actually, I know. Can I answer what you're going to say? For some reason, I think the Chargers are going to be in there.
Of course, they're going to be in
Okay,
there.
so
they're going to beat the Niners in the Super Bowl. That's it. Chargers Niners. It's an interesting game.
that's another
Herbert versus Lance.
That's
Yeah.
you know what that's called?
Interesting game.
That's called a dream for the
It
hobby.
is great, yeah.
That's
That's great
true.
but I also think talent-wise coming up, you just touched on something about Aaron Rodgers when you want to talk hobby and compare. But sometimes, like you talk fantasy sports or you talk hobby or you talk real life, and you say Aaron Rodgers, he's amazing. But at the hobby-wise, he doesn't get a lot of love in the hobby.
Can I tell you
Here's
why?
rare
He
stuff.
only has
When
one
people
win.
get hobby, they're rare
Because
stuff
they're
gets
all- they came
love.
up old,
They're
yeah.
stuff
But here's
that
the
keeps
thing.
coming out every year doesn't get enough love, but they're
Yeah.
rare stuff.
But-
They're rookie
but
stuff. It
Let
sells
me
out.
let me teach everyone something, right? Let's be honest here, right? Herbert, Burrow, Josh Allen, right? Those are the big three that the hobby's excited to see play. Mahomes is an outside four, but I'm going to tell you why. Because those three guys have one thing in common. Everyone is dying to see how they're going to perform. Rodgers, they don't care. You know why? Because they know what you're going to get out of Rodgers. You know what you're going to get out of Stafford. You know what you're going to get. You're going to get a good, solid quarterback.
The same way because he's won already multiple Super Bowls.
My whole
I would
point
agree
is-
with that.
My whole point is a
Yeah.
Burrow, a Herbert. This is now their third season. This is where it's like make or break. Okay, how good is a Herbert? How good is a Burrow? This year will dictate that. The third year, it's like in basketball, right? It's almost like the fifth year.
No, it's the second year.
Take
No,
It's the
basketball
second
takes it's 4 to 5 years for them
Take-
to
take-
be
Basketball's
but you gotta
five.
take- but you gotta
Football's
take-
second
you
year.
gotta take
Football's
Burrow out.
second,
Lamar,
maybe third.
MVP second year.
Yeah.
Mahomes, MVP
I get
second
that,
year.
but what I'm saying is
We
no. The second year, you're right. But the third year,
Your second year's
you
a
have to
breakout.
stay great. Lamar Jackson was great in year 2, but he's not elite anymore.
Burrow
He's
doesn't
elite.
have to.
He's not.
He's elite.
Lamar Jackson's not even a
Listen,
top 10
Burrow-
quarterback.
Hold on, Burrow needs to come out of that
What?
conversation.
What?
Because Burrow did
Not even top-
Burrow did something last year that no one on planet Earth predicted. So
Yeah,
that
that's
goes
a
so
fluke,
far,
though. That's a
but it
fluke.
doesn't matter. It goes so far. Burrow is implanted. It doesn't matter.
So
He-
I don't- see,
Burrow can have a terrible
I like
year,
that thing,
and
but I
people
just-
will believe
So
in
if he
him.
goes 5-12,
People will still
I
believe
actually
him because of what he
I don't
did
agree.
last
If he
season.
won the
I
Super
don't
Bowl,
agree
if he
with
won
that.
the Super Bowl, yes.
I don't
People
agree.
don't.
But he got there.
People don't remember the losers though. They remember the Rams.
I'm
never
with
won it.
Jackson. I
Couple
don't
years
agree
from
I'm
now-
sorry.
couple
You know
years
what?
from now, if he
Here-
never makes
here-
it back, they're not going to forget.
here's
it.
a hot take.
Yeah.
The Bengals weren't that good last year.
They didn't work.
How about that?
I don't think they're that
But
good.
you
this
know
year.
what?
He did it. It
Well,
was him.
It was Jamar Chase.
Well,
Well,
at the end of the year,
You got
Other
to get the
than
ball to
other
the
than
guy.
being-
I can't believe we've been talking for a half hour and Jamar Chase's name hasn't been mentioned.
other than beating the floundering Chiefs, they did nothing. They had the easiest path to the Super Bowl ever. We talked
They did.
about this. It was easy.
They beat
So,
Tennessee.
They beat
beat
Tennessee.
Raiders
beat
at
us,
home.
You know, I mean,
Raiders at home.
yeah,
That was-
the Raiders. I mean,
Yeah.
so they had some games where it's like they fluked and they got lucky and then they made it still. If you would have won, that would have been a totally different circumstance. Then it would have been he would have been like
Yeah.
Mike Mahomes, all solidified. Holmes can do whatever
But
he wants.
the reason I say that is
Holmes
when,
can do nothing the next 5 years. It's
when
fine.
they drafted Joe Burrow,
Yeah.
that was a dead franchise.
Yeah,
Dead.
yeah.
Dead. And in 2 years, they go, wait, and it wasn't even 2 years.
No,
How about, how long did Burrow play?
Yeah.
A year and a half.
He missed the whole year.
He blew his knee out.
Blew his knee out, yeah.
And he still got him to it. Like, that makes him almost like he's ingrained in
He's
people
literally got
that he's elite.
guts, yeah.
That's the way people, I think, believe because of those things.
And
In
the
that
other thing,
way.
I want to end on this too. Like everyone we're talking about, let's be honest, they're all going to be great.
I have a rematch, just like you did. I have a rematch. I got Kansas City, I got the Chiefs, and I got the Niners.
Nice.
A rematch of, what was that, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
I think it was. Except it's great because it is completely different. Think about those two teams back then and what they are now. That was Jimmy G.
Yeah.
This is going to be Trey Lance, but the reason
Could
they
be
get to the
Jimmy
Super
G.
It
Bowl.
still could be.
I know you love
Jimmy
Trey.
G.
Listen,
yeah.
I know you love Trey Lance,
Yeah.
but he won't be the reason, and neither will Jimmy G that they get there.
No.
It's their defense.
It's a defense.
They
line
literally
game.
have
Yeah, it's a system.
A top 2 defense in the entire league, and that's what gets them to the Super Bowl if Trey Lance can do what we think Trey Lance can do.
Well,
Like I said,
then why
greatest
wouldn't-
prospect
then why wouldn't
ever.
Jimmy G-
He could
why
be a
would-
stud.
Why wouldn't Jimmy G be a better quarterback for the system then? Because I think why they're going to make
Because
it
he
farther.
can't. He doesn't have.
Yeah.
Listen,
I
it's
think
like
they'll open it up some.
if you're putting a quarterback together, right? We said Herbert's the perfect guy.
Yeah.
Trey Lance ain't too far
He's not too
behind.
far, yeah, he's not
That
too far
boy
behind.
can
Yeah.
run. He ain't Lamar Jackson, but he ain't that far. But that boy can run,
And he can
and he's
throw.
got
He's
a
not
cannon.
Mahomes, but he can throw.
and he's got a cannon, and he ain't short either. I mean,
No.
he's got all the
He's got the
intangibles
intangibles,
to
yeah.
be a winner.
I agree.
Listen, there's a reason you guys want the Niners in every break. This is why. Because he is a top prospect. This kid, yeah, could he have a bad year? Sure. Could he go to a Super Bowl and his cards go through even way higher than they are?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Everyone thinks they're.
That's
they're
why
so high now.
it's so great.
Yeah, he can win.
Yep. And Mahomes has a completely different team in offensively. It's a more spread around offense instead of the big home run to this guy. This
Yeah,
guy.
I'm
It
not
could
sure
be a
about
great
like,
Super Bowl. That could
the
happen.
thing about
I don't
like Valdez Scantling and like Juju Smith-Schuster, like he's got them to work with. Like they had Roethlisberger and Rodgers, and they didn't do much. So I mean, like I don't know. I don't think they're good receivers. I think that's what the Chiefs are going to lack. They're going to really miss Tyreek, in my opinion, because I don't think they've had all these other running backs in the past that have been like check down guys and system guys. Whether it's
Scantling did well in
he did. He did.
to
okay.
be honest, I
He did
believe
alright
if
for
you
Rodgers,
asked
yeah.
Aaron Rodgers personally on the show, if he was sitting with us,
Yeah.
would you like to have Valdez Scantling right now?
Yeah, yeah.
He'd be like,
He's got a lot of potential. Yeah.
you kidding me?
But why didn't he find
Yeah.
it? Why didn't he find it with the Packers? I know he was banged up a little bit. What do you think?
I don't know.
'Cause I know he missed a couple. I picked him up fantasy wise. I thought.
I don't know why they got rid of him.
He's an interesting guy.
Because they need him. They
They
need
do.
him. But
Yeah.
speaking about what that does, that also opens it up in Green Bay for a 2021 rookie, Amari Rodgers, who I like also at wide receiver for the
But that's why I
Packers.
said Dobb was.
He's going to get a ton of looks with the depth chart they have at wide receiver there. So listen, the point is that there are so many good things coming for 2021 football rookies and 2022 football rookies. It is a great, great time to be getting into PYTs, buying teams in all of 2021 product and all 2022
You know why
football
I'm
products.
laughing?
It's just true.
It's
true.
listen,
Tell me I'm wrong.
I'm laughing.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I'm laughing because the truth is.
Okay, wait.
No, you don't know where I'm going with this.
But I'm gonna stop you for 1 second because guess what? The running joke on daytime
the running
back.
joke is that you're always right.
No, the
That's
running
not
joke
true.
was who do you like in the 2020 NFL class?
That's where I
Dave?
was
Who do you
going with
like?
this.
And my answer, everyone. And guess what? The industry laughed at me.
That's why.
And now, what's the 2020 class considered? One of the greatest NFL draft classes of all time. Maybe you guys
The
might
reason I'm
want to start
laughing-
listening.
Well, that's,
Maybe.
Can you let me
Maybe.
talk?
Go.
The truth is like Damon doesn't just say things to say them. The thing is, when it comes to football, you're usually always right. It's just that's really what it is. 2020 came out and told the world that this is going to be one of the greatest rookie classes ever. 2021, he was the first one in the world to say, you were low on Zach Wilson out of the gate.
You asked me before the preseason when
Yeah.
Cam Newton was the starter in New England.
Yeah.
Out of all 5 quarterbacks, who's your kid? I said Mac Jones, and you looked at me like I had 3 heads.
Yeah.
And so did everybody else in this
And
industry.
Matt Jones, let's be honest.
I remember watching.
He wasn't even
you.
the starter.
I remember watching you, and I was like, "What the fuck's wrong with Mac Jones?"
And
I told
And
you
he
Jonathan
was,
Taylor
yeah,
too.
yeah.
I told you Jonathan Taylor.
And I'm going to tell you right now, Mac Jones was the best quarterback rookie year. And he was. So all I'm saying is that take this information, take this free information, and take advantage of it. And here's the best part about football. There's always the Sam Ehlinger types that are super cheap, that are backup, the Jacob Easons, these guys that they're behind a Jonathan Taylor in 2020. The beautiful thing is we offer so many football breaks. Pick your teams every single day on Blez Sports Cards on YouTube that there's going to be so many rookies that you're going to be able to buy in products for $19, $29. And there's guys that are on the bench. If you like someone, take advantage, buy that team in every single break. Because I promise you, if you bought the Chiefs in every break in 2017 football, we wouldn't be here right now.
Fact.
None of us would be here
Fact.
right now. It's a fact. If you bought the Chiefs in everything, you'd be retired right now. It's that simple.
And I got one more thing to say. Blez Sports Cards on Whatnot. Get your ass over to Whatnot, because you know what? I'm not just running 2022 football or 2021. I'm mixing the sports. So when you mix the years of 2021 and 2022, you have like, what, 25 teams that are 32 are elite?
Yeah, we said that.
You could
So
buy
many
those
more
teams,
teams become elite. Wait, look, you like 2021 football? You add 2022 in, all of a sudden the Falcons become elite. All of a sudden the Titans become elite with Malik. You have all of these teams. The Jets go from good to way better with 3 extra rookies. If you get into that break with the Jets, you have 6 rookies. 6 with a quarterback. I mean,
That's nice, yeah.
so get into Whatnot. Get into these 21-22 breaks
Good point.
where it's mixed.
You can't find those anywhere.
And-
You can't find those
and-
anywhere.
and you know what?
You have like 4 or 5 bad teams amongst 32 in those 2
Exactly,
years.
yeah.
It's crazy.
And in Blez One, in our NFL section, you know, you go to the website and you go to the NFL section, you'll see all of our breaks. We only have the best products at the best prices
All of them.
for all the years,
And we're a
and we
full-page
always
channel.
do it that way. So
Focus channel.